How many of you have a health issue and you would like to do something about it? Well, and rest of you who don't have a health issue but you would like to take your health to the next level, would you like to do something about it? In June 2012, there was a medical camp happening at my office. 2 months before, in April 2012, I had turned 52 and I had no health issue or disease whatsoever, or at least that's what I thought. And it has been some time that I had got my health checkup done, so I thought, let me get a health test done. So I go to this camp along with my colleagues, and the very first test they do is a blood sugar test. And the screen flashes 440. What should have been a 440 volt jolt for me, I was very dismissive about it. And I said, I'm absolutely fine. There must be some error. Many of you who are familiar with these blood sugar levels and diabetes may be aware that these readings are dangerously high. They are like 4 times higher than the normal level. So the medico suggested, okay, we'll do another test called HbA1c, which is the 3 months average of blood sugar. And they did the test and the reading came soon after, which was 11.6. This is commensurate with the average blood sugar levels of 300 or so. I was numb. I did not know how to react. So the company doctor was there and he said, this is an emergency, you must be rushed to hospital. They dispatched me to the Max hospital and there was a series of tests done, like checkup of eyes, we call retinopathy, neuropathy and many other tests. And as I was waiting for my test, in between the test, the thought crossed my mind कि मेरी उल्टी गिनती शुरू हो गई. Little did I realize that actually I was at a very turning point of my life where I would experience transformation of my health, and the ulti ginti actually would mean something else. To add to my misery, the heart specialist told me that my heart was under stress. So, but this was like a very fortuitous thing for me, because the moment he said that, I thought of a doctor. This doctor is Dr. Rajiv Bajaj at Batra Hospital. And he's like I consider him a saint doctor. So I immediately called him up and told him about my condition. And he said, leave everything behind and come and meet me on a coming Sunday, which is a free day for him. So sure enough, I landed at his hospital and with an appointment, and he spent 1 hour with me. And that 1 hour not just transformed my health, helped me reverse my diabetes and many other things, but set me a completely new path that I am pursuing now, that I am about to share with you. It completely changed my life. I still remember the very first question that he asked me. He said, diabetes you want to cure or you want to manage? And I never thought about it. I thought most of the diseases were like, once you have it, they are like, especially diabetes is irreversible. And it's also progressive, that over a period of time it becomes worse. So he asked me a series of questions. There were answers to all of them were very different to what one would think, counterintuitive. And I was a bit confused, but I was also happy that there was a ray of hope for me. So I come back home and a bit confused though, but I start implementing, because I had a lot of respect for this doctor and whatever he said made logical sense. So I began implementing these changes and the results came tumbling. Within a few days, I was on the medication. I stopped taking medication and my sugars were close to normal. I was surprised, I was happy. And not only did my sugar levels become normal, so I found that there are other things which you don't take as a routine, like bloating of stomach, itching of the eyes, dryness of eyes, the happiness of your gut health, your stomach health. things like that start showing improvement. I felt energetic, clear-minded, and I think it is as if the body is saying that it's feeling happy, and there were signals from the body that you are on the right path. So I started getting deeper in this issue. I started researching, and as things improved for me, I started sharing this with my family members, my friends, colleagues and acquaintances, and many of them over this period have followed the advice or followed the same lifestyle that I began to adopt. In these 7.5 years, I have not had even a small ailment like cough and cold. I have left a disease-free life, medicine-free life, and the people that I interacted with had a similar result. So I thought it was all replicable, and in fact, the simple health advice could transform. It was astonishing for me. So I kept my research on, and in over this 1,000 people that I've or more that I've interacted with and helped them support in their health transformation, I got a lot of insights, and a couple of them are like this. One, that I became very clear that most of diseases have skyrocketed in just last 100 years, which essentially meant that there is something that you're doing wrong now. And then there's a whole lot of advice we are being given on health about how much to eat and when to eat, how much to exercise. If you really look at it, we have started having a fight with hunger. भूख से लड़ाई कर बैठे हैं. So I kept getting deeper in this issue, and I found that most of these lifestyle diseases the whole thing can be distilled into three things, what I call three lifestyle tragedies. There are many other issues like stress, relationship quality, toxicity in the environment, but these three, in my opinion, account for most of our miseries. The first lifestyle change that happened, and incidentally I am from the electricity sector, and it kind of connected to it. About 150 years back, there was an advent of electricity, and it gradually became pervasive. Our lifestyles started changing. We would kind of wrap up our day by the sunset and have our dinner by sunset. That got extended, and we work longer, ate longer. So today, for instance, we are eating our dinner around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, even as late as 11 o'clock. And next day when you get up, you have something to eat, like your tea with milk or biscuit or something like that. So there was this natural fasting period from 6 o'clock to late in the morning that disappeared. This is the first lifestyle tragedy, which has a major consequence, and I'll explain you in a bit. The second one, incidentally, also is connected in some way to electricity. You see, there were these fats which were derived from seeds, what we call now refined vegetable oils. In 1911, Procter & Gamble came out with a brand called Crisco. It was a fat shortening made purely out of vegetable oil. This started the long march of refined fats. The big corporates were in the business of fats, and that's how this business became a big fat business. Now they had to sell these oils, so they started demonizing and started blaming the fats that we had for hundreds and thousands of years. And gradually, there was the saturated fats or the healthy fats became scarce on our plate, in our diet. That's the second tragedy. And the third one is, as you started having less and less of these healthy fats, because there are three macronutrients, there are fats, there are proteins which you take just the fixed quantity required by the body, any excess amount is not so good, and the third one is carbohydrate. So if you take less fat, we end up having much larger amount of fat, carbohydrates. The nature of carbohydrate is such that they keep you hungry, especially the ones, and tragically we have been more and more of these refined versions of the carbohydrate, many of which don't even qualify to be called as food. And many of them have a deleterious effect on our body. They hardly have any nutrition and they actually impact your health negatively. So now, would you like to know a very simple sutra that can put you back on the health track of health, to redeeming your health, right? And how many would like to implement in your life if it is just a simple thing and not torturing yourself? Okay, so here it is. So it is not an entire remedy, but it's a first step. But this is a very important step which can put you on a very natural, flexible, sustainable lifestyle. Begin with your dinner. Begin by pruning carbohydrates in your dinner. Many of us had our what I call carb quota. Many carbohydrates, you have lots and lots of carbs, so today you are entitled for less. So your plate would have typically 4 things. 1, have lots of veggies and made in ghee or butter, except potatoes. Then you can have your source of protein from paneer or even non-vegetarian that you like, or even egg, made in butter or ghee again. And third one, you make hung curd, that full cream hung curd, which you do. So you have a full cream milk, make curd out of it and just strain the whey. So the leftover amount, the strained amount, quantity that you get in the sieve is the hung curd. Something equivalent of, you get the sweet dishes that you make. So hung curd is very satiating, and so you like to include it, and it's like a dough, so you can do lots of things with it. And fourth one is the salad. Go for a small veggies, high quality salad which is nutritionally dense. Now what happens? You have had your dinner, and the principle is eat your heart's content. Don't try to kill or manipulate your hunger, because now you are on a food or a nutrition where you actually start having a natural, a friendly relationship with your with your hunger. So when you get a signal of satiety, you stop. You don't even feel like having more. Next morning when you get up, because of this lifestyle, you will get the carbs actually hold a lot of body water. So the body begins to shed water, and along with that you also shed minerals and salts. So make sure that morning when you get up, you have a hot lemon water with salt, preferably pink salt, else you can have rock salt or black salt. Because if there are less electrolytes in your body will make you feel hungry because it wants to replenish it, and you might even feel weak. And now third and the most crucial step, have your breakfast when you are hungry. Breakfast is not a meal, it's an act of breaking the fast. And when you feel hungry, only then you break your fast. So if you don't feel hungry till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, don't have your breakfast. You don't have to go by the clock, you have to go by your body's clock and body's hunger. So this is how now you're responding to all the three. What is happening is, you have in the night, when you go out to sleep, your body's energy needs are met by your liver glycogen, the sugar that is stored in your liver, that is for about 8 hours. So when you don't load your body with sugars, this 8 hours of thing will get depleted a while, and then the fat metabolism will happen. That means the body will begin to break fats to supply your energy, and that's how when you get up within 3-4 days of of this undertaking this lifestyle, you will not feel hungry when you get up in the morning, because the energy is being supplied to you. So, and that's a very high quality energy that you're getting. So it's a very, very natural act of putting you on a track, and a very flexible one, where you don't have to measure how much you ate and what time you should eat, etc. Now you're responding to all the three lifestyle tragedies or maladies. Just try it on for 21 days and see the magic. This advice is so simple, but this simplicity may be deceptive. It's a very, very powerful intervention that you're doing. Just try it on for 21 days and see the magic. All the best, folks. Thank you.